You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans, and welcome to another episode, and I do mean another episode of your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries, and I'll tell you what, I think we had some issues in the studio here earlier, but I think it sounds okay now. Does it sound okay now? Okay, it sounds better now. I got someone right here testing it for me. I need the phone back if I could, though. All right, so here we are. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. I kind of had to incorporate that into the show. I was trying to do it like subliminally, but it didn't work out that way. It's been one of those nights, guys. Really appreciate you hanging and sticking by us, because it's just been one of those nights where sometimes you got the equipment set up the same every single day. You got everything right in the studio. Sometimes there's just a bug. Sometimes there's just a glitch. Sometimes, you're at home and sometimes the internet just isn't working right. Sometimes there's just too much in one area with cord. Whatever it is, it just is not working. Everything's a little bit wonky. Well, we had some feedback in the sound. We tried it twice, and thanks to our audience, you guys are awesome. Baseball Fan 31 for the heads up. Thanks to Sam Ekstrom, my boss with Locked On POSTCAST here, and we were able to get the situation fixed, I believe, and remedied. Let me see right here. I have it pulled up on YouTube, and I can tell you right now on my end. No, it's still not sounding right. We're still getting feedback, and I have no idea why. No idea, guys. That doesn't make any sense to me. This has been fine every day, and I apologize. I don't know if you guys are picking up on that right now. Yeah, it's feedback. That's really weird. Where's the feedback coming from? That's strange, guys. It's not wanting to do this. Wait, hold on one second. I'm going to try one other thing. We are live, of course, and it just sounded good enough to try a minute ago. We tested it, and we're doing the best we can. Let's see. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Are we still getting feedback? Wait a minute. Check. Did I just get that? I think I might have gotten it. We might be witnessing some live engineering brilliance here right on the show. Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. Did I just get that? I think I might have gotten it. Witnessing some live engineering brilliance here right on the show. And I'm in stereo. I'm proud of myself. Look at that. Marlins POSTCAST. Sometimes it pays to have worked a million jobs in the business in which you make your living. And now my phone's going crazy, just blasting and playing things out of nowhere. But you know what? It's one of those days like ghouls and ghosts and what's the date today? July 22nd? What kind of spooky day is this? What's going on with the ghosts, the goons, the goblins? And now we got the audience back, and we're like, all right, loving it here. Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, live engineering wizardry right here on the show with the camera on, with the bosses watching, with the heat turned up. I mean, my pits are probably soaked right now, but here we are. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. The Marlins with another exciting game. They lose 6-4 to the come on out and beat the Mets, but not tonight. They split the series 2 games apiece. In fact, these two teams dead even. 5 games apiece this season, as the Mets go in a different direction, though, toward the wild card race with the Padres and the Diamondbacks, while the Marlins are the Marlins. But look, they're 5-5 with the Mets this year. And this was a game in a series in which the Marlins played pretty well. They had a lot of balls hard tonight, and they were at people. A lot of Adam balls, we used to call them. They were right at them, Adam balls. A lot of Adam balls tonight, and they had some really hard hit balls. Plus, the pitching was great in this series. In fact, Chirinos is terrible and should never start again. But besides that, their bullpen's been phenomenal, and they finally give up a home run tonight out of the bullpen with Chargois. He's given up 3 earned runs all year, all solo homers. Well, the Mets are a pretty good team. The middle of May, they were here. And it was like the 16th, 17th, 18th of May, whatever it was. It was talked about everywhere, national media everywhere, that the Mets were going to be sellers at the deadline. And no, the Mets are buyers at the deadline now because they're in that wild card race as the Marlins sink
ever so low in the standings. But let's not forget Alcantara's surgery last year. Let's not forget Myers. Let's not forget Luzardo. Let's not forget Weathers. Let's not forget all those starting pitchers who have been in and out and on that disabled list, which is now the injured list. The injured list. All year long. So it's been brutal. We talk about it day in and day out on the show. You everydayers know this. We talk about it all the time here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And with all the engineering madness at the beginning of the show, I didn't get a chance to do what I always do at the top, like we always do at this time. Thank you for making Locked On Marlins Postcast your first listen every day. We're free, available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as it stands, today is the greatest day of them all. Our show is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepick.com/LockedOnMLB and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100 at prizepicks.com. All right, 6-4 the final, 2-2 the series split. Look, the Mets went 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position in this series. They left 9 men on base again today. The Marlins pitching staff, with the exception of Chirinos, who was god-awful, and he's pretty much been god-awful every time he's taken the mound, right? So Yonny Chirinos with a tough outing, and again, I mean, look at he went 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, all earned. It was worse than that. He walked 4. He only struck out 4. He gave up 2 dingers. Both of them were in the upper deck. He hit a guy with the bases loaded to force in a run in a game in which the tying run was on second base in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Jake Burger's at the plate after Bell had driven in a run with the ground ball. After DLC's homer, after Bell's homer, a couple of soldiers, they're creeping in. They're building momentum. And the momentum killers, right? The momentum killers. That extra run that he gave up by hitting a batter with the bases loaded. You know what I mean? And that's tough. And if it weren't for McNeil, 3 home runs in the series, Lindor killing them all series long because J.D. Martinez didn't hit anything this weekend. Alonso's finally starting to come along for the Mets. And now they're buyers instead of sellers, and the Marlins going in the other direction as the Mets hit 51 and 48, and the Marlins are at 35 and 65. They made David Peterson, he's all right, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. The Marlins a little bit more patient at the dish today. That strikeout to walk ratio, 8 strikeouts, 6 walks at the plate, not on the mound. It's a big difference for them. Chargois gave up the earned run. It hardly ever happens. It was a solo shot, the insurance run that the Mets, really needed, because in the 9th inning, and it happened with Chisholm, right? It happened with Jazz Chisholm recently as well. And tonight it happened with Jake Burger. And I have to speak on this. I'm a baseball guy. It's my first love. I played a long time. And I just really love the game, right? I really love the game. I do believe that level is perfect now. And we got it right. It might have been a little peaking, but I believe we got it right now. And we got this. Locked On Marlins Postcast with the situation settled in the studio. But Jake Burger hit 34 home runs last year. Let me repeat that. Jake Burger hit 34 home runs last year, okay? And what does that mean as it relates to this game? Simple. You come up in the bottom of the 9th inning, you're a guy who hit 34 home runs last year. First base is open with the tying run on second base. The tying run, think about this. The tying run is on second base. This is your big run producer. With Soler gone, the big year he had last year, Burger's supposed to be the guy. 34 home runs between the White Sox and the Marlins last year. Maybe we should have looked into that a little bit more deeply. Considering the fact that the White Sox stink, they're the worst team in baseball, and the Marlins are the second worst. Anyway, Burger with 34 dingers a year ago. He's a 100 RBI guy. They counted on this prior to the season. He had the injury, went on the injured list right away after starting out hot with 15 RBIs. Look, I don't know how his Achilles is feeling. I know he's out of shape. I know that he's not himself, right? So that being said, I'm not making excuses for any Major League Baseball player that steps foot on a field and puts himself, or has the manager put himself in the lineup, right? There is no excuse for any reason, under any circumstances, for the biggest bat in your lineup to not be intentionally walked with first base open in the bottom of the 9th inning with a tying run on second base. A blooper ties the game. A home run wins it on one pitch, and you got Diaz, who's a human roller coaster, on the mound. And you still don't walk Jake Burger. What does that say about Burger? What does it say about the Marlins? I'll tell you, I got no respect. None. No respect whatsoever. Rodney Dangerfield, if anybody remembers. No, I tell you, I got no respect. None. Zero. No respect. None. It happened with Chisholm the other night, Berger tonight. No one respects these hitters. No one respects Josh Bell. No one respects Jake Berger. No one respects anybody in this Marlins lineup. No one thinks any of them can do any damage. No one thinks any of them can beat them. Because if they did, they wouldn't leave first base open and pitch to them. Oh, that's disrespectful, man. You see that as a hitter? Ooh-wee. You got to watch it. You got to try not to be mad up there. You got to control your emotions because that is disrespect, man. You ever have that kid that when you played kickball at recess or wiffle ball in the field, like everyone move in, so-and-so's up. That's the equivalent. Don't walk with the bases loaded. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name's Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. So thankful to have you here with me tonight. Thanks for sticking through with the technical problems in the studio. We got it fixed. We did it live on air. How about that? A little engineering. I had a little background doing that. But you're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. 6-4. The Mets win. Look, 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position in the series. Lindor and McNeil, DLC and Bell hit homers. It was a 5-homer game overall. Pretty much all the offense we had tonight, aside from a sac fly and a hit batsman with the bases loaded. Thank you, Chirinos. Lord have mercy. The Marlins and Mets series tied 5-5 this season. We're going to step aside, take our first break of the show, and when I come back, talk a little bit more about how the Mets were able to put together 2 wins in this series, in spite of the fact that they were 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position. I'll give you a hint. It doesn't have anything to do with the Mets offense. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. Uh-oh. Now the spot's disappeared. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Oh, boy. All right. Did it come back? There it is. Come on, baby. All right. Just had to refresh the page. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. The bullets are flying everywhere. It's Baghdad 2004 right now in the studio. But Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. Why? It's simple. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Think about that. $10 into $1,000. Where do I sign up? PrizePicks.com. Get in on the excitement. Went up to 100 times your cash with the summer games on Prize Picks. Watching LeBron and Team USA day by day. He's been incredible. And, the gold medal is going to be racked up this summer in Paris. You can make a Prize Picks lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds with the Olympics. Gotta love it. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you are locked in. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Prize Picks has you covered. They're available in more than 30 states across the country, California, Texas, Georgia included. So, what are you waiting for, my friend? Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Locked On Marlins postcast is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. Had a lot of patience tonight. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. That's right, I'm talking about your car, and eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your #1 ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right, a question for you as we roll right along with your Locked On Marlins postcast. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries, at Jim Gries _ on social media here after every Marlins game. Dolphins coming up after that, University of Miami football, and of course, your Miami Heat. What's going to happen with Jimmy Butler this year? Big question marks on Tyler Herro and Jimmy Butler heading into the season, but no question mark for you as a sports fan as you find your way in the new world, right? And if you're watching Fox Sports ESPN on your TV all day, you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting. Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's free, 24/7. It's a sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team and mine and yours and yours and yours every single day. All right, Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. We lost Baseball Fan 31. He tried to come back with us a couple times, and we did all right here. We fixed it live on the air during the show. Pat myself on the back for the engineering acumen, so to speak, and get the cat hairs off the microphone here. They tend to fly all over the place. But, man, it was a great, great effort by the Marlins. You're never going to question this team's grit, right? I mean, you got the tying run to scoring position. You got your big guns up in the ninth with a chance to tie or win the game in Bell and Berger. Bell drives in a run with a ground out. Props to him. Berger pops out. Man, he had a couple of good cuts against Diaz, who's throwing a hundo. Diaz was out there just chucking that thing as hard as he could, man. And you remember back on, what was it, May 17th in the 10-9 game in extras, Bell hit the home run off him in the ninth. Bell was trying to do that again tonight. Remember, they beat him in that game, or they tied him in that game, and that weekend Diaz got the crap beat out of him. Then the Mets put him on the IL with a shoulder impingement. I thought it was more like a mental break because the closer needs that mentality, and when you get beat like that as a closer, sometimes it's hard to just pop right back. And after that, he was struggling. So Bell hit the homer, and then they walked it off. That's on May 17th. Back then, the Mets were being looked at as sellers, not buyers. Back then, the Mets were being looked at as a team that might unload J.D. Martinez, that might unload Pete Alonso, that might unload a Diaz. You never know. Lindor. Right? A lot of teams like Harrison Bader, too, the defense and the wheels. But they're not sellers anymore. So the Mets in that race with the Padres and the D-backs for the wild card, they're not sellers anymore. So that means that it's a lot more likely that some of the Marlins guys are going to get picked clean here, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show because Jazz Chisholm playing second base with Vidal Brujan and Otto Lopez in the outfield tonight. So you got 5 pretty good outfielders on this team. You don't have a great one. You got 5 good ones. You got DLC, who homered tonight, right? You got Nick Gordon, who had a big pinch hit tonight. You got Jazz, who's your everyday center fielder, the best of the bunch. And then you got Dane Myers, who's out right now with the injury, just getting started. Got a great arm, terrific in the field, playing well when he was hurt. And Jesus Sanchez, who you know, a big prospect. Everybody loves him. So more than likely, since Jazz is playing second base, I feel like he's going to get traded to a team that needs a second baseman. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what's happening right now. So if you start looking at the top contenders across Major League Baseball, and we will do this here upcoming on the shows, deadline's the 30th. No need to do it just yet. I don't think they're going to panic again like they did with Luis Ariz. I mean, they might as well have just traded him in spring training, for crying out loud. Best hitter since Tony Gwynn, and you just trade him for a bowl of soup. Anyway, yeah, it gets frustrating. So when I look at what the Marlins are facing here, nobody respects you until you beat them. They leave first base open. They don't walk Berger. He's supposed to be your guy. Just a big time. And that's just disrespect, man. That's just like everybody just move in. Come on, let's go. Don't even play in the outfield. You're good. And they would have been. And that's sad, and that's got to change with this team. So obviously Jazz is going to be a big trade target. Luzardo and Weathers on the injured list. It's tough right now to trade them. Had they been pitching the way they were pitching before, they would probably still be on that market, and one or both of them would probably be traded. Alcantara's got the Tommy John. They're close to getting Max Meyer. So Alcantara with Meyer and Weathers and Luzardo, and then either Cabrera or Munoz. The other one's a long reliever. Brazoban's a long reliever. Declan Cronin could be a long reliever. You got Puck. You got Chargois. And who am I? Nardi. You forget about Nardi. Nardi, of course. Tanner Scott is incredible. Lights out of the bullpen. And long relief, you got plenty of guys. You got plenty of guys to do that, to fill that role with long relief now. And what's his name? Brian Hoeing is another one who can fill that role for you. Yep, he's another one. So you got a lot of guys in those positions, and in the short relievers with Puck and those guys too, and then you got Tanner Scott, a great. I said this a bunch of times yesterday. Keep this pitching staff together. Keep it together. I mean, determine who your 5 starters are going to be, maybe 6 or 7 of them. Who's going to compete for those roles coming out of spring training next year? You got the long reason. You have a chance to have a great pitching staff with this group. A great pitching staff. You add one big bat like you had last year with Soler. One. In that 3-hole. Then you add, obviously you have Berger and Bell and Gordon and all those guys and Jazz and DLC, and Chisholm's probably going to be gone. You don't want to see it's probably going to happen. If you added one more bat in that lineup, if you would have kept Luis Arise and added one big bat in the middle, just one, like Soler did last year, they're a playoff team. They were last year. And who knows what they could have done. Alcantara had the Tommy John surgery, went on the IL in September. Who knows? So day in and day out, this team competes. Day in and day out, they give you the best they have. They're outgunned, they're outmanned. They've had 1 million pitchers on the IL. And I just don't understand why. I don't understand why you would want to have a fire sale, why you would want to just trade these guys. I know payroll, I know money, I know all that. But, man, if this team, if you kept Lewis, you didn't keep Lewis. Forget Luis Arise, Jim. Forget him. But if you keep this team together as is right now and you had one big bat in the offseason and you just bring back all the arms you have, you're a playoff team. You are a playoff team. You were last year before all the injuries. You're a playoff team. I really hope they don't hit the panic button because I could see them trading Jazz. I could see them trading DLC. Jazz is playing second base because he's auditioning for a contender that's going to trade for a second baseman. Quite obviously. They're not showcasing Vidal and Lopez for anyone looking to trade for them. They're putting Jazz at second base for one of 2 reasons. Because they've got teams interested in him, one team or more, that need a second baseman and want to see how he does there. Or, here's the second part to that. The second part to that is they want to see what they can get back for a trade with him. Because playing multiple positions makes you more valuable. So showcasing him at second base as well as the outfield and at DH, hey, this dude can play 3 positions for you. And one of them's middle infield. One of them's middle outfield. I mean, a second baseman / center. You're seeing it more and more. Mookie Betts plays short and center. I mean, it's just usually you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't have seen that in the past. But you're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm so proud of myself. Fixed all the engineering stuff, the technical difficulties right there on the air, live on the show as we started, and we're having a great time here today. A lot of positive signs from this team. They hit the ball hard, a lot of atom balls tonight, and the bullpen has still been great. So I still will maintain day in and day out, no trade clause, no trade zone. Don't do it. If you're going to trade anybody, trade De La Cruz or Chisholm. You can replace a guy like that a lot easier than you can these arms they have and this rotation and this pitching staff in general. The bullpen's great. The bullpen had a bullpen shutout in 4 1/3 innings yesterday. No runs on 3 hits with 9 strikeouts. The bullpen is legit. You're going to get Alcantara back. Myers coming back now. You got Luzardo, you got Weathers, you got Munoz, you got Cabrera. I'm telling you, Tanner Scott's the best closer in the game. This pitching staff could be the best in Major League Baseball. Yes, I said it. The whole entire staff, from the first starter to the last reliever. I said it, and I'm not taking it back. You're watching Locked On Marlins postcast. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. Thank you so much for being here wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We're going to wrap it up in just a moment. Man, series tied 5-5 between these two teams. You got the Orioles coming in next. They're percentage points ahead of the Yankees in the American League Eastern Division. They have the second best record in baseball behind the Phillies, and they are coming in next. That big bad Orioles team that's been one of the best surprises and one of the best teams in Major League Baseball this year. We'll talk about that and more on the other side. Locked On Marlins postcast. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries, at @JimGries_ on social media. You guys know how much I love sports, especially you everydayers. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs are done, right? Shout out to the Panthers, Stanley Cup champions, and the NBA Finals, long gone, right? Baseball is all we got. No football yet. The sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But have no fear. FanDuel is here. FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. I'm doing it right now. Visualizing this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus every day. That's right. There's something for everyone daily, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com like I do and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. They are making a lot of fun with the summer games going on right now. Look at LeBron James, man. We had him in Miami for a while, but watching him with Team USA and Bam Adebayo having a good time out there. Bam's a power forward, just saying it. And we will have Locked On Heat postcasts along with Locked On Heat, which we already have the Locked On Heat, which posted today right here on Locked On Sports Miami. We got Locked On Marlins, got the postcast, obviously Locked On the Canes, and Locked On the Dolphins, and the postcast coming your way on that as well. Shout out to my guy Alex Donald. We used to work together at 790 The Ticket in Miami. We did a show together back in the day. I hosted. He was the update guy and the producer. He was just starting in the business. He's terrific, and I'm pumped to be working with him as well on the Locked On Canes shows. So we're going to have a lot of fun here as the seasons go on. And look, the Dolphins and Canes both loaded heading into this season. The fan bases are starving. It's going to be on, and we will be ready to dominate that for you right here on the Locked On Podcast Network and Locked On Sports Miami. All right, wrapping it up on your Locked On Marlins postcast. Want to remind you real quick as we move along. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. One more time. Thank you for making Locked On Marlins postcast a part of your day every day. We're free, available wherever you get your podcasts on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And again, my name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. The Marlins lose 6-4 to the Mets tonight, 5-5 season series. They play 3 games in Miami mid-August. Miami or New York, I'm not sure. Hold on one second. 2024 schedules, second half. Come on out and beat the Mets. All right, here we go. Second half, we got, they're at New York, 16th, 17th, and 18th of August. So the season series is tied at 5. It could end up 8-5 for one team. You know what I mean? Whatever it ends up being. But we shall see. The Mets have gotten a lot better, but the Marlins playing right there with them, hanging toe-to-toe. And it just is it's a tough thing, man. The Mets took a 2-0 lead in the second. Marlins cut it in half in the bottom half. 2 more runs for the Mets in the fourth, 1 each in the fifth. 1 for the Marlins in the 7th, and a run each in the 9th. You had Iglesias hit by a pitch by Chirinos with the bases loaded, just gave him a run. And then you had a solo homer for Lindor, his second of the game later on. And that was the insurance run. Chargois given up 3 earned runs all year. They've all been solo homers. He's had 19 strikeouts and only 3 earned runs allowed. He's been phenomenal. Certainly not going to put anything on him tonight. When you scored 4 runs and you hit homers tonight. So it's just one of those games. They had a lot of atom balls. The Mets played great defense. Bader made a couple of nice catches. McNeil with a great throw from right field to get Brujan at third. And that was on a play where he had already driven in a run with a double, got thrown out at third, and that could have given the Marlins a chance to score another run. So, a lot of different things happened in this game. And it was an entertaining game. It was a lot of fun. But again, you can't have your big hitter coming up with the game on the line and the tying run on second base. There's runners on second and third. He's the game-winning run, and they pitch to him. They don't walk him with first base open. Slap in the face. Epic proportions. I mean, you just can't have that. You can't have that. You got to make people pay when they do that, and Berger strikes out it's crazy how often he strikes out. He'd be the perfect softball player, but he strikes out way too often. And Bell and Berger keep finding themselves in these positions. They're supposed to be the guys to get it done. The positions keep finding them, and they continuously fail to come through. Now, Bell drove in a run with a ground out tonight, but it's a ground out. Come through. He hit a home run in the 7th inning. Good on him, but, I don't mean to pick on these guys all the time, but you're the big guns in this lineup, and you have to start coming through. No trade zone, baby. Don't trade Jazz. Don't trade any of those pitchers right now. This team can be really good next year. Look at McNeil. And by the way, I love the dugout celebrations in baseball now. Baseball and their unwritten rules, they used to make it so boring it should have been an English game. You know what I'm saying? It used to be that boring. But with the rules changes and the celebrations and the enthusiasm of these players now, and no more crusty old men, unwritten rules, you can't pump your fist when you hit a home run. You don't have that anymore, thank God. Thank God. We love the game. It's exciting. It's fun. You should go out to Lone Depot Park and check out the Marlins, and then check out the Locked On Marlins postcast every day. And you know what's coming next? You've been waiting for it, because we do it every time the show reaches this point. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. That's my tribute to the great Jim Mandich, the Mad Dog, good mentor of mine for a long time and a good friend as well. Hope you're riding around with your windows down in the sky, Jim. And the Marlins are getting better. Getting closer to football season. Big year coming up for the Canes and the Dolphins. We'll be here every step of the way with the Locked On Podcast Network and the Locked On Postcast. Can't wait for us to just kill it all season long with these teams looking as good as they look right now heading into the season. Football in Miami looking like it could be as good as it's been in a long time. And on the heels of this baseball season, with all the injuries and all the stuff that's gone on with the Marlins, it is sorely needed in South Florida. Thank you so much for being here, especially you everydayers. If you're just coming on board, welcome. We're here after every Marlins game. Jim Grieshaber, call me Gries. They play the Orioles tomorrow, coming in first place in the American League East. Percentage points ahead of the Yankees, and the O's are legit, man. Gunnar Henderson and that squad coming into town, and he's been an MVP candidate all season long. Judge is going to win the MVP in the American League, but Henderson's been really good unless Judge really falls out. And the Marlins haven't named a starter for that game. They might go bullpen by committee. It might be Hoeing. It might be one of those guys. And then the Orioles will pitch. Where did I put it? I know I wrote it somewhere. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, Albert Suarez, who's 3-2 for the Orioles, will pitch tomorrow night. Thank you so much for being here, Marlins fans. Keep your game tight and your mind right. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Gries. I will talk to you tomorrow on your Locked On Marlins postcast.